How's everybody doing? This is Captain Brian with FishingNight.com with your KentuckyLake.com tip of the week. And it has to do with throwing crankbaits and swim baits. Most of the people, when they're using these style lures, it's a throw it out, crank it down, crank it in, and which is what a lot of guys have done forever. It's caught a lot of fish, but the one thing that'll help you catch a few more fish and feel your way through, like especially with a crankbait, feel your way through the brush and the cover down there, is go ahead, cast it out, get it down to where it's supposed to be by cranking on it, but once it hits the bottom where it's going to be, pull it. And then reel up the slack and pull again. And use the rod to pull the line and pull the bait down to the depth and keep it down where you want it. Rather than throwing it out and cranking it and digging it down in there, you can do the same thing, exact same thing, using the rod. Fire it out there. You still got to crank it, get it down to where you want it to be down. Now I'm on bottom, and rather than continually cranking and keeping it digging like that, and you really can't feel anything as that bait's bouncing around on the bottom, is pull the rod. And you'll be able to watch that rod tip. As that bait's hitting anything, that rod tip's going to deflect. And you can't see that when you're doing this and you're cranking the whole time. So if you throw it out there and just pull it, same thing with that swim bait. That's a great way to keep a swim bait on the bottom. A lot of guys have problems with the swim baits rising because they're throwing it out and they're reeling it the whole time. If you take that swim bait when you throw it out there, you let it get down on the bottom, get your slack line, let it fall till you get your slack line so you know it's on the bottom. There it's on bottom. Rather than throwing it and then always reeling it like this and then killing it to find out if it's on bottom or how far bottom is away, reel it, get your tight line, and just pull it. And then when you go to kill it, to stop, it's already on bottom. You're just reeling up the slack line, and then just pull it again. And you're going to feel a lot more bites. You're going to feel your bait a lot better. And if you get a crankbait kind of in that brush, you can kind of pull it through there and work it through it rather than trying to crank it through, and then all of a sudden you're hung up because you really didn't feel it from reeling. Use the rod to do the feeling. That's what the rod's made for. Just let the reel pick up the line after you've got the slack. But that's your KentuckyLake.com tip of the week, is to use the rod to pull the line and pull a lure, whether it be a swim bait or your favorite crankbait. When you got it down there on the bottom, pull that rod, pull the line with the rod, keep that bait down there doing what it's doing. You can feel it with the rod, then reel up the slack and pull it again. I guarantee you'll be hung up a whole lot less, and you'll feel a lot more bites that you didn't feel before that maybe you missed on fish by doing that. But, until next time, this is Captain Brian Brown, FishingNight.com. Hope to catch you on the water.